Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 39 of Sooner Girl Sports Pod. And today's episode is, and I feel like I say this a lot, but it just means I have had some fantastic guests, and I'm super thankful for each one of them. But today's guest is a very special, extra special guest and a very unique subject that a lot of people aren't familiar with. So I'm super excited for you to hear my interview with sweet Mariah Gahl. She is a battalion commander for the OU Naval ROTC in her fourth year of running the game ball to Dallas for the OU Texas game. And we will go into more of that later, but you will not want to miss my interview with her. So I do hope that you stay tuned for that at the end of the episode. But first, we will get off to my injury report with Dr. Jason Leinen. We talk a little bit about John Mateer's injury, a little speculation. We talk about Keontez Lewis and that awful collision that we all saw this past Saturday during the Kent State game. And one thing that I did fail to mention, which it's not a big deal, we actually don't have any further information on it or anything, so there wasn't a lot to discuss, but I did want to mention, just in case something does come of it, that it did happen. But Logan Howland did get rolled up in a play, possibly a knee injury. He was seen limping off the field. I don't think he came back in after that play. Not sure that anything else ever came of it. Nothing else was ever said or mentioned about it in the post game, and I haven't seen anything about it on Twitter or anything else, but I did just want to mention it just in case. But all things aside, we are very lucky sitting here going into week 6 of football that we do not have a ton of major injuries to discuss. Of course, John Mateer having his surgery, it couldn't have come at a better time given that it had to happen, I guess. But again, very positive outlook, positive timetable on his return. So we cannot be complaining too much about that. And also with Keontez Lewis, of course, no one would ever want to see that collision again. But it could have been so much worse, and we're so thankful that he's okay. So all of that being said, here is my injury segment with Dr. Jason Leinen. So
that's a lot, yeah. Week for sure.
It is a big week, but it's my favorite week of the year, so I'm
Yeah,
not going to
yeah,
complain.
for sure. Yeah.
I'm really sad I'm not going to be able to do my annual radio spot with Plank this year. I don't think, since he moved to the morning show now, and so he has to be in Dallas
Yes.
on Thursday.
Oh,
And
wow.
so, yeah, he's got a lot of obligations prior to that. So anyway, I'm a little sad about that, but I have enough going on to make up for it.
A little more exciting when you feel like we've got, I mean, every year we have a chance to win. I mean, it's going to be close, but
Yes.
when you really feel like, okay, this year, I think we've
Yes.
got a good chance to get them. Yeah.
I do not understand why Texas is favored over us.
I meant to
But
look that up this morning to see what the
I
spread was.
I think it's only like 4.5 maybe or something like that. It's not
Oh,
a
that seems
lot.
like too much still.
But
Yeah.
yeah, I just comparing our percentages, you're ranked first and second or top 5 nearly in every category in defense, and their offense is like not good.
Not good. Yeah,
So
for
I'm just
sure.
like, where the math isn't mathing for me. I'm not sure how they're a favor over us, and they dropped out of the top 25 too. So.
Yeah. No, I would have thought we would be fair. I mean, if you'd have said that before the season,
Yeah,
I'm
oh
sure
yeah,
we were probably a 10 plus point
for sure.
underdog, but I would think we would be either, I think it should either be kind of a push 'em or a,
Yes.
maybe us be a 1 or 2 point favorite even. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know if they're factoring in that Mateer might not be playing. I don't know. Of course,
Well, I'm sure that's part of it. Yeah.
probably. I mean, we still don't know anything about
We
that
don't know.
situation.
We don't know.
We
Yeah.
won't know until last minute, I'm sure.
I don't think we'll know until they walk on the field
I don't
and
think so
announce the
either.
starters or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think so either. But I don't know if they're factoring that in or what. But I'm kind of like, I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Like you said, I have a lot of confidence this year. Even if Hawkins plays, I still have a lot of confidence. I think they kept it pretty vanilla this past weekend, and that was expected.
Yeah,
So
I think so too. I think if our defense is good enough to,
yeah,
and their offensive line hasn't looked good.
No, not at all.
They may have Arch running for his life quite a bit, or being in the ground quite a bit.
Yeah,
So
I mean, if we can sack Jackson Arnold 10 times, I don't see how we can't not sack, arch, pretty close to that. So
Yeah,
that's fingers
exactly.
crossed. That's what I'm assuming. That's kind of what I'm banking on. So the big topic after this week is Keontez Lewis and running into the wall, which was awful to see.
That was one of the few times. I mean, I've seen a lot of injuries over the years. I know people cringe at injuries sometimes, my wife especially, but
Yeah.
that was one of the ones where I like yelled out audibly, like, "Oh my gosh!"
I know. Yeah,
It
the
was
whole.
on TV, especially. It looked
Oh, I bet.
so bad and at full speed,
Yeah.
and I was concerned.
I was too. The whole stadium just went silent,
Oh,
and
I'm sure. Yeah.
Jules actually told me, I don't want to see that again. Do not show me that. And so
Yeah.
it was a while later before I did see a replay on Twitter, but I did want to see it again just because it was on the complete other side of the stadium from us.
Yeah, I
So,
can imagine if you were in the stadium, it may have been. I
yeah.
mean, obviously you knew something bad happened, but being able to see it up close on
Yeah, and they didn't
the
show the
cameras,
replay
it's
obviously in the
yeah,
stadium. But I almost felt like we heard it, like we felt it in the stadium because like as soon as it happened, I mean, we all saw the ball, it was thrown too far and
yeah,
we could tell he was determined to get it and we were all just like, "Oh crap, this is about to happen." So yeah, that was rough to watch. So just knowing that he was later up in the training room, walking around and talking and
yes, for
moving and all the
sure.
things was a huge sigh of relief for literally everybody because that is not what we expected
Yeah,
to
for
come from
real.
that. So I'm very
Yeah.
thankful for him, not just football wise, but just in general because
Right.
that
Yeah,
could
it
have
could
been
have been
bad.
really bad. Yeah, yeah.
So I'm assuming he was probably had a concussion, and then, like I mentioned to you, he apparently had told the trainers that he felt some pain in his spine or something while he was
Mm-hmm.
laying there. So of course after that anyway they're going to take all the precautions and that's why they got the backboard out and all that. So it's a good thing they
Yeah.
did all that cuz you do never know. But yeah, that's pretty much all the information I have.
Yeah, yeah, that's kind of one of those injuries. I mean, as a, someone who's been on the sideline as a trainer and a physician, I mean, it's one of the things that have to have at the top of your list of this is something that I'm always kind of geared up to make
Yeah.
sure that if I see something that looks like could be a spine injury, you kind of have to go into a little bit of different level of care. It's different than a shoulder
Yes,
injury. It's different
for
than a knee
sure.
injury. It's different. I mean, this is something that could paralyze someone if you do something wrong,
Yeah.
if it's a really high level, spinal cord injury, as you've seen over the years through different levels of football,
Mm-hmm.
where sometimes they even have to do a trach or whatever right there on the so the guy can
Yeah.
breathe if it's, it's a really high
Yeah.
level spinal. So you have to kind of be on alert. And it's one of those things you get out there, and this is one of the things you sprint. You sprint out there as a doc or a trainer because you know right from the start, yeah, this could be bad.
Mm-hmm.
And then, yeah, if a guy's saying, "Hey, I've got numbness or tingling, or I got pain in my spine," when you have an injury that you're concerned for a spinal cord or something real severe like that, you want to get these guys moved very carefully. Um, if you can't for sure confirm that, there's nothing broken in the neck on the field, I mean, you don't even take their helmet off. You
Right.
you get them secured on the spine board with every, thing in place. You got to make sure they are breathing.
Yes.
You've got to, make sure they're secured down, and you check their arms and legs, and they're, can they wiggle their toes? Can they grip your hands? Kind of a quick sideline or on-field assessment.
Mm-hmm.
But then, yeah, I mean, you got to get them spine boarded and transported securely, and make sure that either they go right to the hospital in that state so they can get a scan of their
Right.
CT scan or an MRI scan, X-rayed, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
So I actually I was covering a high school game one year, and kid went down and concerned for spinal cord injury, and he was having some tingling in his extremities and pain, and
Ugh.
when I pressed on his neck, and
Uh,
so we had to call the ambulance over, and they wanted to take the helmet off, and I said, "You're not removing his helmet." And they
no.
said, "Well, we have to. That's our policy to transport." I said, "No." I said, "Until you know if this kid
Oh.
neck is okay, you're not gonna take his helmet off."
Right.
And the only way they would not take the helmet off is they made me ride in the ambulance
Oh my
as
gosh.
kind of responsible for this kid, which is
Okay. I mean,
kind of crazy deal. But anyways,
wow.
So you just kind of have to have that extra level of
For sure.
awareness and care and concern for these kind of injuries because you just don't know.
N-
But again, yeah, thankfully in this case, seems like he's okay. And yeah, probably just assuming because seemed like he was totally out for a little bit, you
Yeah.
kind of assume that he probably has a concussion associated with
Uh-huh.
that. And which I mean, you don't want to have to deal with a concussion, but
Right.
obviously a lot better than the alternative in this
Best
particular
case, yeah,
case.
best case
So,
scenario considering,
um,
yeah. And
so
I did
again,
hear that they took him off site later to do further testing. I don't know if
yeah, I
they
heard that
mentioned
he
that
did
or
go to
yeah.
some sort of hospital facility, I
So,
guess, and
and I never
got
heard anything
probably got
past
scanned
that.
or
It's good that they did that, like you said, because you never know. But I'm glad that he cleared everything at the stadium because that's a good sign.
yes,
For
for
sure.
sure. It
For
sounds like he
sure.
was up walking around the locker room
Yes.
talking to guys.
Incredible.
I think I heard, an interview with Um, I can't remember if it was Hawkins or who after the game. He
Mhm.
kind of referenced that, yeah, it was good to see him,
Yeah,
and it was good that the outlook seems better. Coming
absolutely.
from the quarterback, you feel like okay, maybe that this tells us this guy's actually doing a lot better than we
Right.
kind of suspected when we first saw that.
For sure.
So
For sure. I mean, I
yeah,
felt like we were silent in that stadium, like everything was on pause for what felt like hours, but I think it was, I don't know, maybe 15 minutes at least, I would say.
it was quite a
Um,
while, yeah, and I was kind of a little concerned because sometimes the guys will be laying there and they'll give you the thumbs up or wave to the
yeah,
crowd as they're going. He didn't do that, so it's
he
kind of
didn't
like,
do it.
well.
Yeah,
But anyways, yeah, glad he's okay, and
I am too.
maybe they'll give us an update later in the week. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's just a concussion. Perhaps he could be back, although after that they might want to give it a little time.
Yeah, I cannot imagine him playing on Saturday, but I could be wrong. I mean, it. I think best case scenario he plays in South Carolina the week after,
hmm
but I
Yeah.
mean he has to be hurting.
Yeah, yeah, oh,
I
I'm sure.
mean,
Yeah,
I'm
even if he
sure.
didn't break anything, I'm sure that
Yeah.
neck is sore and
Oh, I
tight
can't
and strained and
imagine.
all that. Yeah,
And somebody had said that it was probably similar to being in a car accident, and it probably
yeah,
was.
yeah. I'm sure.
So he's going to be hurting for a minute. So I'll be very shocked to see him on the field playing on Saturday for
Yeah,
sure. And
for
I
sure.
can't imagine how his mom felt because
Oh, man, yeah,
I'm assuming she was at the game, but just knowing like I can't go down there and that's my baby, which maybe she could go to the locker room. I don't know, but I could just
yeah,
imagine his mom's like, "You're not playing on Saturday." If
yeah,
Mama has
yeah.
anything to say, he
She
might
threw
not be
down
playing for
yeah.
sure.
She played the mom card on that one.
Yeah,
Yeah,
but man, it definitely could have been a lot worse. And honestly, we were all just kind of like tense after that happened. And
yeah, for
also,
sure.
I mean, I know this is the least of our worries at that point because we were worried about him, but we were also like, is that going to get in Michael Hawkins' head and like mess with
Yeah,
him? Because like he overthrew that ball and
exactly.
he could say I caused that to happen or whatever. And he recovered well,
Yeah,
at least from what we could tell
yeah.
from
I
that.
had the
And
same thought. I thought, oh
yeah,
man, I hope he doesn't shut down
I
or
know.
start making mistakes because his mind is elsewhere.
I
But yeah, he
know.
seemed to
He
handle it
did
pretty well.
he did well. He did well. I heard a lot of people that weren't necessarily quote pleased with his performance on Saturday, but I'm like, well, I wasn't necessarily expecting to see a Heisman worthy performance from him because one, it was his first game on the field. Two, it was Kent State and they were keeping it very
Yeah.
simple. I thought he did well. I
hmm
wasn't disappointed. I mean, he did have a few balls that were not thrown 100% accurate.
hmm Yeah.
I know a lot of people were like, "Oh, he didn't get his stance right before throwing," which is a big
Right.
deal and can be in bigger games for sure. But
Yeah, for sure.
I think he's fine. I mean,
Yeah, I think they'll have the full playbook this week.
yes, yeah,
They'll probably get him out and let him do kind of what Mateer did against Michigan, really, where nothing's
exactly.
there, he's going to take off.
Yep,
And
yep,
obviously you didn't want to get him hurt in this first game, but against
exactly.
Texas, you may have to just pull all the stops and let him go for it.
And I'm
And man, when
thinking
he gets out and running, he is
he goes.
quick. He looks good.
He does. He reminds me of Kyler Murray when he takes off because
Yeah, he does.
he just goes.
He
So we
just
did put in our third string quarterback at the very end of the game. That
yeah.
Whit Newbauer. He's a transfer from Mercer.
Yeah, I think that's right.
I don't know his eligibility. Like, I don't know what class he is, like sophomore or whatever. I feel
Yeah, I
like he's
don't
a
either.
sophomore or junior. But anyway, I mean, he's not a bad quarterback. Now, granted, we haven't seen a lot of what he could do
Yeah.
for us and in the SEC, but I mean, to have him and the experience that he has on the collegiate level sitting over
Yeah.
there on the bench, I mean, we can't be too worried. I mean, of course we would be a little bit, but hopefully we don't have
Yeah.
to resort to that. But
Yeah.
I'm ready to go for Saturday. So
Yeah. Should be good.
I'm definitely curious to see if we see Mateer, of course, and he'll be suited up on the field, I'm
He'll be
sure,
suited
regardless.
up,
And
and yeah.
Keontae Lewis, he'll probably be suited up too. I don't know if he'll be playing, but
Yeah.
those will be the two big storylines of the week. We didn't need a
Yeah, for
second
sure.
big storyline. Mateer was
I
enough, but
know that was enough.
apparently,
Yeah.
apparently we had to go and get a second one. But yeah, fingers crossed. Big game this weekend. Thank you again to my friend Dr. Jason Leinen for joining me each week to have our injury report of the week and discuss any updates that we have on the team. I have truly enjoyed my time visiting with him and just talking about football and our current injury status. And I appreciate him imparting his doctor wisdom to us in terms that we can understand and that we are concerned about as fans. So thanks again to my sweet friend Jason for joining me each week. So for this week's Sooner headlines of the week, there is obviously quite a bit going on. It is Beat Texas week, horns down always. It is one of my favorite weeks of the year. Now that I'm thinking about it, if you're watching the video, I should have worn my horns down shirt, but instead I'm wearing my Kyler Murray shirt, my Hill Murray shirt. I love supporting my NFL guys, former OU guys playing at the next level. And so a little update on them real quick before we get started on the Sooner headlines of the week. But shout out to Nick Benito. He had 2.5 sack performance this past Sunday, and he's had 20.5 sacks since the start of last season. That's the most in the NFL in that period after the week 5 early window. Shout out to former Sooner Nick Benito, who plays for the Broncos, on that awesome accomplishment. Poor Jalen Hurts lost to the Broncos at home yesterday in Philly, 17-20 loss after a fourth quarter run from Denver and Bo Nix. What a game that was. Definitely did not see that coming, but I got to hand it to Denver for getting that done. In case you didn't watch the game, the Eagles were actually up 17-3 at the end of the third quarter. And so Denver came back and scored and beat them all in the fourth quarter. It was literally insane. I still can't believe that it happened. And if you watch all of the NFL, you know that last night the Bills got beat at home by the Patriots in Sunday Night Football. And I just can't believe that the Eagles and the Bills, both undefeated, got beat on their home turf yesterday. Just insane that they both took their first loss on their home turf. But wow, you just never know what's going to happen with football. But Jalen and the Eagles are still having an excellent season. I'm sure that they will recover well. I did want to mention that former Sooner Grant Calcaterra was taken off the field into the locker room for an oblique injury. Don't believe it was anything serious. If you were watching the game, you saw him make a catch where he took a hit there to his oblique. He was probably just in a lot of pain and he got hit pretty hard there, but it doesn't appear that it was anything serious. I hadn't seen any updates on it or anything, but he was taken back after that. So best wishes to former Sooner Grant Calcaterra that he recovers well from that. Speaking of Kyler, went out with a foot injury, and in their loss to the Titans this past Sunday, they kicked a last minute field goal to beat Arizona 22-21. That was definitely a shock as well. Of course, Kyler came out later talking about how they just didn't play their best football. I didn't get to watch that game. I just kind of followed it, so I can't speak on any specifics. But I really hate they lost that game to the Titans. If you know anything about the NFL, Titans aren't exactly the best team in the league, so not really a good thing that they lost to them. However, hoping that Kyler and the Cards can recover. I am going out to Phoenix in November to see Kyler play the 49ers. So I am really hoping that they get their shit together before then. And also hoping Kyler, please stay healthy. I hope that your foot is okay. Haven't seen anything else about that. Backup quarterback did come in to finish out that game yesterday, but Kyler did do post-game pressers. He's been seen with the media today. I haven't seen anything else about the foot. Fingers crossed that it wasn't anything serious and that he is okay. Also, a quick mention Former Sooner Dylan Gabriel had his first NFL start with the Browns. They played in London yesterday against the Vikings. They did lose to the Vikings, but DG had an excellent game, an excellent show for himself, for the Browns overseas in London. So shout out to DG. We wish him nothing but the best. Best of luck to you in Cleveland. Okay, on to our favorite Baker Mayfield and the Bucks. They played in Seattle this past weekend, and shout out to my friend Boomer Barb, who was at the game. Her son Chris is the social media for the Seattle Mariners, and they were up in Seattle for some October postseason baseball and got to watch Baker play and then head over to the baseball game and saw Mariners win game 2. So shout out to them because that game was incredible. It was another last minute comeback by Baker and the Bucks. Baker was 29 of 33 for 379 yards with 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. He is the first quarterback ever to have 375 plus yards and fewer than 5 incompletions in a regular season game. Holy smokes. He also connected with Sterling Shepard on a couple of plays, a touchdown pass that tied up the game, and then they later won with the field goal by Chase McLaughlin. Just an incredible run by Baker yesterday, an incredible last-minute drive, and just shout out to Baker, shout out to the Bucks. I really hate that you guys took that loss from the Eagles last week after they turned around and got beat at home this past weekend. But the NFL's crazy, y'all. You just never know from week to week. But best of luck to Baker and our Bucks going forward. They're 4-1. They're tied for first place now at the top of the division because the Eagles took that loss yesterday. So it's pretty much fair game for now. It's still pretty early in the season. So just love watching our Sooners at the next level. It's a lot of fun to follow and see them succeed at their next level. Well, as I mentioned, it's Texas Hate Week, horns down always. It's literally one of my favorite weeks of the whole entire year. And on the injury segment, I did mention my tradition that I've had with my friend Chris Plank on KREF Radio the last 3 years, I believe. He has stopped and done a on-location radio show on his way to Dallas. And unfortunately this year, due to his move to the early morning show, he has obligations in Dallas. So he will be down there on Thursday and will not be coming through on Friday. But I have been able to be on the air with him the last few years on Friday in that 9 to noon slot, just talking a little football. First year, he totally threw me on the air. I was not prepared, but I had the best time. And he was so kind to throw me back on with him, let me come on the next couple of years. And I just had the best time. And I came prepared. The following subsequent years, I had notes. I was ready to go. So shout out to my friend Chris Plank. He is a great friend of mine and has been so supportive of my podcast. But I'm truly going to miss being on the radio with you this year, Plank, but I have so many other events coming up this week for OU Texas Week, and I hope that you are able to join in some fashion wherever you are. Of course, if you are in the Southern Oklahoma area on Wednesday evening, the day that this drops, I have posted this on social media, but if you're listening the day of and you hear this in time, come out and join me. Again, it's Wednesday evening, October the 8th, sometime between 5:30 and 8:30 p.m. And I know that's a broad window of time, but I'm going to be posting updates on my social media at Sooner Girl Pod on all socials. I will be posting a more accurate update of a time of arrival for the game ball as Mariah and the Naval ROTC run the game ball through on their way to Dallas, and we are going together on the northwest corner of Highway 70 and Highway 77, just south of Ardmore, and cheer them on. So bring water bottles, Gatorade, bring your noisemakers, make signs, come out and cheer them on their run of the game ball to Dallas. And I would love to have you come out and join us for that. Again, please follow me on all social media at Sooner Girl Pod. I will be posting updates on a more accurate time of arrival for the game ball the day that this drops, day of, so you will know what time to come out and meet us for that event. I would love to see you there. But if you're not in the area, but you're coming through on Friday on your way to Dallas, please stop and see me in Love County, exit 15 off of I-35 in Marietta at the Valero station. We will be having the Red River Bash that is brought to you by the Love County OU Club. And I am joining in with them this year, and I will be there with some giveaways and lots of fun stuff going on. The event is from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. I personally will be there from 10 a.m. until about 2 or 2:30. I have some prior obligations that evening. I need to sneak out a little early, but I will be there. I would love to see you. So again, if you're on your way to Dallas this Friday, the 10th, please stop by in Marietta, exit 15, between 10 a.m. and 2:30 p.m. and see me at the Valero station there for the Red River Bash with the OU Club of Love County. There are hot dogs, fun and games, vendor, midway, OU merchandise. The Apothem will be there, and just lots of fun stuff going on. And so I hope that you will be able to get out and just stop by and see me and meet everybody at the event on Friday. I would love to see you there. Okay, for our football update for the game against Kent State this past weekend, holy smokes, Grayson Halton touchdown return. We finally got a defensive fumble, returned it for a score. The fumble was forced by our Mason Thomas. It was the first turnover by the defense since the LSU game last year, and that turnover was an R. Mason touchdown return with the fumble forced by Grayson Halton. I did mention in the injury segment with Dr. Leinen, we did see our Mercer transfer quarterback, third string Whit Neubauer, come in at quarterback at the end of the game on Saturday. It was great to see him get a few snaps, some reps in. Don't anticipate we'll be needing him in the long term, but you never know. So it's nice to know that we have a decently talented quarterback sitting over there ready for us just in case we do need it. But Michael Hawkins, again, like I mentioned with Dr. Leinen, I know a lot of people had some things to say, weren't super thrilled about his performance on Saturday. And let me just say, I'm not saying I necessarily disagree. He did not have a Heisman worthy perfect performance on Saturday. Don't get me wrong. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with those points. However, I feel like he did fairly well considering that it was his first game on the field, players and everything around him. And I do think they were trying to keep it pretty vanilla. I do think there are a few basic things that he can improve upon this week. Like I mentioned, him not getting his feet set right or not focusing on not overthrowing or underthrowing the ball. I totally get that. Those are things that necessarily, quote, shouldn't be happening at that level. I'm not going to disagree with that. However, I feel overall very comfortable going into Texas, assuming if John Mateer doesn't play, I think we will be fine. I do think that we're going to pull a lot of tricks out of the bag on the offensive side this coming week for practice and for Hawkins to get used to. So I'm not worried about it. Maybe I'm delusional. I hope that I'm not. Again, I know Dr. Leinen and I talked about the point spread, and maybe we're a little delusional about that, but I don't really understand why Texas is favored over us, given the whole situation, unless they're factoring in the Mateer injury. But even so, our defense is so good, you guys, just incredible. And I'll get there here in a moment as far as that's concerned, but I'm just really not worried about it. So maybe I'm delusional. If you think I am, I'm more than open to hear that, but I am just really not worried about it. I think that going forward, we're going to be fine. But we had a lot of positives come out of the game against Kent State. RMT strip sack, wide receiver Isaiah Satanga put on an incredible show. Four receptions, 75 yards, 2 touchdowns, and 97 PR yards, most by a Sooner since 2012. Shout out to Isaiah Satanga for that. And again, back to Michael Hawkins, 195 total yards, 4 touchdowns, and 14 of 24. Could have done a lot worse. Now, I know everybody's like, but that was against Kent State. He should have done better. We should have scored more. I mean, we did cover the spread, but maybe we should have kept the gas on the pedal. I don't know. I mean, you can always find something like that to say, and I'm not saying there's necessarily anything wrong with that. However, I just think maybe I'm sunshine pumping, but I'm just really not super worried about it. Like I said, we have a lot of positives coming out from that game going into Texas, and I am not worried. Tate Sandell, holy smokes, that kid, that leg is a weapon. His kicking could really become important and vital to our winning games down the stretch. You know the schedule we have coming up after Texas even. We go on the road to South Carolina. They're not ranked, but they are a good team. Shane Beamer has done a really good job with that team. Then we have Ole Miss at home. That's another top 5 team, followed by on the road to Tennessee before we get our second bye of the season in the second week of November. So we got a good long stretch coming for us, and we're going to need that leg. We're going to need our punter. Shout out Grayson Miller. Holy smokes, another weapon with his leg as well. That punt that hit the 1 yard line this past Saturday, I saw a video from it, I think maybe from the pylon cam. Just incredible that we have such 2 talented guys on our roster that can kick 50, 60-yard field goals and that can kick a punt down to the 1-yard line. I am just ecstatic with having those weapons on our roster. Certainly not anything to balk at. But Daniel Okoye is a freaking monster. He really showed us some great plays on the field on Saturday. Jade Knott, he's alive. We saw him. He was 11 carries for 49 yards, nothing too spectacular, but that kid has a lot of potential. It was great to see him out on the field. I'm assuming we'll probably plan to see him a little more going forward and out the season. We did slip one spot to number 6 in the AP poll after shutting out Kent State, but Texas fell out of the poll completely. Texas and Penn State both being a top 5. I believe they were 1 and 2 preseason in the poll. That just goes to show that crap means nothing. Get out and win football games. That's really what it's all about. But out of the preseason poll, so instead of a top 10 matchup in Dallas next week, it'll be ranked versus unranked, which is why game day will not be coming to Dallas. They're instead going to Eugene, Oregon. But yeah, I sure hate that they won't be in Dallas to see it when we kick Texas's ass. But, what can we do? But our defense through 5 games, I want to give them their props. Just incredible national rankings that they have. We've only allowed 36 points total this entire season through the 5 games. That's the fewest for a Sooners defense through 5 games since 1987, you guys. 1987. That's nearly 30 years. 3.5 yards per play, 193 total yards per game, 10 tackles per loss per game, 281 total sacks, 7.2 points per game, 50 total sacks for loss, 118.4 passing yards a game, 4.8 passing yards per attempt, 18.97% third down conversions, 74.6 rushing yards per game, and 2.4 rushing yards per attempt. All of those defensive stats I just read, which I know were rather quickly, but those all rank in the top 5 in the nation. Okay. And 3 of those we rank first, and 6 of those categories we rank second. And then we rank 5th in the final 2 categories that I read off. But just incredible showing by our defense overall, ranking 1st, 2nd, and 3rd nationally, not just in the conference. We rank 1st in the SEC conference in nearly every category except for rushing defense and opponent pass completion percentage, in which we're 2nd and 3rd. But in the nation, you guys, 1st and 2nd ranking nationwide, just an incredible showing by our defense. As I mentioned, I have not forgotten that we sacked Jackson Arnold 10 times in Norman, and I would love to see Arch Manning's ass on that turf 12 times. Let's get him down more than we did Jackson Arnold. So let's go. Boomer Sooner, horns down, ready for Saturday. If you're going to the game, I would love to see pics of your view. Enjoy a corn dog, Fletcher's corn dog for breakfast. It's the only way to go. And cheer loud, cheer like a champion. It's Boomer Sooner. It's horns down week, my literal favorite week of the year. Enjoy it, Sooners. We are sitting pretty going into this game, and I am very optimistic, regardless of who is taking the snaps behind center on a Saturday. I just feel really good about this game, and we'll regroup and talk next week after the game, and we'll just see if I was right or wrong. And hopefully I'm definitely not wrong, because I don't like to be wrong. Okay, a few other quick headlines before I let you go this week. Shout out to my girl, Peyton Verhulst. I just interviewed Peyton a couple weeks ago for the podcast, and her episode will air later this fall. She has been one of my favorite players for several years. She came and joined our squad when Coach Jenny came. And I am just so glad she's a part of our team. She is an excellent person, an excellent player, just such a role model on and off the court. And that is why she was awarded the Servant Spirit Award. She's the recipient of the 2025-26 K Yao Servant Leader Award, honoring her impact on and off the court. So shout out to my girl Peyton for winning that an award. What an incredible honor to have a Sooner get the recognition for the impact she's making for the game and in the people around her. So congratulations, Peyton. Also, don't forget our baseball team has their fall schedule out. There's several opportunities to stop by Eldell Mitchell Park and see our baseball guys gearing up for the spring. They've got several fall ball games going on, so be sure and check their social media or on Soonersports.com and get out and support them. I believe those games are free in the fall, so get out and check those out when you can. I did want to mention it was announced the schedule for the Shriners Children's College Showdown, which is February 13th through 15th at Globe Life Park in Arlington. That is Valentine's Day, you guys. If you love sports the way that my husband and I do, where else would you be, really? Also, that's our anniversary weekend. And so we are going to be celebrating in Arlington. We have some Bedlam baseball on Valentine's Day. OU and OSU will be there along with TCU, Tech, Andy, and it's just going to be a great time. 3 days of baseball, 3 days of getting to watch OU and OSU for my husband. Just going to be a great time at Globe Life Park. Those tickets are actually pretty affordable. They are all general admission. And for a 3-day pass, I believe it was like $75. So pretty fun. Basically about $25 a day for 3 games of baseball at Globe Life. Can't beat it, you guys. I would love to see you there. But the Sooners will be playing that Friday against Tech at 11 a.m. And then on Valentine's Day, it will be Bedlam at 3 p.m. Central, and then TCU on Sunday the 15th at 6:30 p.m. Softball. Fall softball schedule's out. As most of you know, we had our first Battle Series game at home this past Friday night. There were 2,351 in attendance. You heard me. 2,351 people in attendance at a fall softball game. Inter squad scrimmage. Just, these girls are incredible. People want to see them, and it is just so cool. I highly recommend you get out and support them this fall if you can. Tickets are only $10. General admission seating. They still have 5 more opportunities when they were playing at Love's for you to get out and see them. But I wanted to give a few shout outs to some of the players. I did not get to attend this past Friday. I did watch it. Shout out to my friend Kim. She has the Oklahoma Sooner softball fan page on Facebook, and she went live and streamed the softball game on Friday night. So I watched it on my iPad while I had the WNBA finals on my TV. So shout out to my friend Kim. Thank you so much for doing that. So I did get to see a lot of the game thanks to her, but Ella Parker still doing Ella Parker things. She looks healthy. She was hitting great, just being Ella Parker. So great to see her keeping her momentum. Riley Zake, my girl Riley, I interviewed her for the podcast as well just a couple weeks ago, and her episode will be airing later this fall as well. And we'll be talking about her hearing loss and how that's affected her gameplay, but certainly didn't affect it this Friday night. It didn't look like. You could really tell she's adjusting very well. So congrats to my girl Riley. She hit a home run off her sister, her freshman sister, Berkeley Zake. Riley had an excellent performance. I just love seeing these younger kids as they're growing up through the program, get a little more playing time, seeing what the potential that they have going into the spring. Gabby and Kendall went back-to-back jacks. We had 6 pitchers through 9 innings who showed off. Kirsten Dill, Sydney Burzon, which is the LSU transfer, Berkeley Zake, which is Riley's younger sister as a freshman, Alyssa Parker, freshman, Miley Gacchino, who is our Ole Miss transfer, and sophomore Audrey Lowry. They all got about 3 innings in the circle. We were divided up into 3 different teams, and so they rotated and played innings that way. And so that's how all of those pitchers each got 3 innings, if that didn't make sense to you. But it was just really cool to see those pitchers. They looked really good, obviously, in the circle. Lots of Ks, lots of strikeouts. Did see some home runs. Just so fun to watch these girls get a chance to show off their talent inter squad scrimmage. So again, get out and support them. Their schedule is on their social media, of course, and then on Soonersports.com. Again, several opportunities to support them this fall out at Love's Field. And I will be there on Wednesday, October 15th. I can't wait to see those girls in person. I'm really looking forward to just getting the atmosphere of the ballpark. There's just nothing like being there and just experiencing it and seeing the girls. And so if you're going to get out and be there on the 15th for the fall scrimmage, I would love to see you there. So let me know. I also wanted to mention, I would be remiss not to bring this up. The 18 and under World Cup softball USA champions. They went undefeated through the tournament, beating the number 1 team in the world, Japan, twice in the tournament. These young ladies have only been playing together for less than 2 weeks before that tournament. 4 of them will be playing in OU jerseys in only 2 years from now. Oklahoma's own Juliana Goose Hutchins was named the tournament MVP. I want to give a shout out to my friend Teresa. She is a good supporter of the pod, and she was posting a lot of information, as well as Tyler McComas, my KREF radio friend, as well. They attended a lot of those games and were posting about them. They played at Devon Park. Just really cool to see softball being supported and played at a very high level. here in Oklahoma. Just super cool to get out and support those girls. And again, shout out to Team USA for winning that, and to our future Sooners on that team. Just what an incredible showing by them, and such a bright spot, knowing that OU softball is not going anywhere, you guys. We've got a lot of great players coming up that will be wearing Oklahoma across their chest before we know it. Our soccer team is 9-3-2 after a win on the road at Bama this past Thursday. And then this past Sunday, the game ended at no score tie with Texas A&M at home. But next up on Thursday, October the 9th, they are at home versus Tennessee. And I know that Texas will be in town in Norman for soccer on Sunday, October the 19th at 2 p.m. I will be at that game. I would love to see you there. Remember, it's free admission for all home soccer games. So I would love to see you there. If you're going to come throw the horns down, beat Texas, I would love to see you. So let me know if you're coming. Volleyball is 11-3 after a win at Vandy on the road this past Friday, and a top 10 win at Missouri this past Sunday. Just an incredible showing by our girls, and get out and support those volleyball girls. Their next home game is this coming Friday, October the 10th, for Fan Appreciation Night. It is free admission. Normally the tickets are around $8, I believe. Students, I think, get in for free, but this coming Friday night, if you are around and not headed to Dallas until the next day or whatever, to come out and support them. Free admission, like I said, against South Carolina this Friday night, October 10th. So I'm going to be there. Got a group of girls coming. I am excited to see the girls. I have been chatting with volleyball player Sydney Thompson. I am looking forward to meeting her after the match on Friday and hosting her on the podcast here soon. So, like I said, get out and support all of our athletes. They all work so hard and deserve all the time and recognition. So get out and support them when you can. Tennis, our men are hosting next week's ITA Central Region Championships in Norman, and also the ITF 25K Norman Open the week of October 20th. Track and field, next up for them, our men will be at Princeton Fall Classic on Friday, October 17th in Princeton, New Jersey, and the women will race at the annual Arturo Barrios Invitational in College Station, Texas on that day as well. Rowing, our girls had a Sooner sweep this past Saturday at home. A trio of OU varsity fours claimed the podium, and all 8 boats placed in the top 10. So shout out to our rowing girls. They started the night sprint for the statement. Their collegiate fours took first and second in the 500-meter sprint. Our golf guys, next up, the Williams Cup at Eagle Point Golf Club in Wilmington, North Carolina, October 19th and 20th. Our women had traveled to Hutchinson, Kansas to host the University of Oklahoma Intercollegiate presented by PDI this week. It's a 2-day, 54-hole tournament. It starts Monday, October 6th, which is the day that I'm recording this. And the final round will take place on Tuesday, October the 7th, when a team and individual champion will be crowned. So by the time this episode drops, that will be completed. But you can check out all of the winners on my social media. I always share it all on my social media at Sooner Girl Pod on all platforms. And also you can check the golf social media as well. I also want to mention, again, our club sports. We have club hockey, we have club lacrosse, rugby, we have a women's wrestling club. And I know that there's some slipping my mind, but those just off the top of my head. But you can check all of those out on social media. Follow their accounts. And I try to share as much as I can. There's so many kids out representing our university at the club level, and they deserve all the support in the world. And I share as much as that as I can on my social media as I come across it. Again, at Sooner Girl Pod, I share a lot in my Facebook and Instagram stories and on my Twitter or X account. But shout out to them. I had a blast at my first hockey game just last month. I mentioned that. Of course, we went to Bedlam Hockey, but it's so much fun. I believe it's $10 to get in. They play in Edmond at Arctic Ice. But shout out to Nate Monticelli. He got his first goal this past Saturday evening at their hockey game, and they won. Nate is the brother, our former pitcher Peyton Monticelli, who she is now transferred to LSU. But their mom, Lauren, is a sweet supporter of the pod. She's followed me for a long time, and we chat on social media, and I saw that Nate scored that goal, and so I wanted to give him a shout out. But that's just really a shout out for all of our club sports. I wish that it was easier to share their schedules and things like that, but you can follow their accounts on social media. And again, I do try to share as much as I can as well. But our Sooner MVP of the week, I cannot let it go by without again mentioning Isaiah Satanga and Tate Sandell. Our kicker, just incredible, incredible performances by those two this past Saturday against Kent State. So that's my Sooner MVP and co-MVP of the week, Isaiah Satenga and Tate Sandell. Okay, to end the show with the Sooner fun fact of the week, Ryan Miner is a former Sooner baseball and basketball standout whose name was penciled into the Baltimore Orioles lineup card as the starting third baseman on September 20th, 1998, thus ending Cal Ripken Jr.'s MLB record consecutive game streak at 2,632. So we all recognize the Miner name from Oklahoma, Miner brothers, and what they meant to the university in both basketball and baseball. Ryan's twin brother Damon also played for Oklahoma as well. But I wanted to share this for those of you who do not know. Ryan actually passed away from colon cancer back in December of 2023. So when I saw this fun fact come across my calendar, I just had to share it. His name carries a lot of weight to Sooner Nation. He did a lot for our university. So shout out to Ryan's family. He has not been forgotten in Sooner Nation. So thank you all so much for your overwhelming support of the podcast. Again, please get out and follow me on all social media accounts. I am at Sooner Girl Pod. I am trying to reach 1,000 likes, follows, subscribers, all the things. So please go like, follow, subscribe, download all the episodes, listen on all the platforms, share with your friends, go follow on all social media, share that with a friend as well. If you need merch for fall, I've got hoodies, sweatshirts, tees, long sleeve tees, hats, visors, stickers, koozies, you name it. I can probably get it for you. So you can check out my merch at soonergirl.bigcartel.com. Everything is linked in my link in bio, which is my link tree. And you can find that again on all of my bios at Sooner Girl Pod on all social media. I have a very special online huddle coming up on October 14th. For my locker room girls, you can join that for only $5 a month. You will have to be a member to join into the special online huddle. I'm going to have a special guest, a friend of mine who is joining us to talk a little OU Texas recap. You won't want to miss it. So if you're not a member of the locker room, you can go to my Substack and join for just $5 a month. You do get lots of other perks as well. You get a discount on merch. We do our monthly online huddles. I do giveaways. We do in-person meetups. We have a private chat, a private text group, Instagram feed, all the things. Just so much fun. I love my girls. I call them my board of directors. You guys get a lot of inside information and get to kind of help me make decisions and see which way to go with the podcast and a lot of things. So I appreciate these girls so much for being a part. But again, you're not going to want to miss our next online huddle. You can subscribe for free on Substack so you don't miss anything as well. If you don't want to pay, that's totally fine. You can get my playbook, which is my monthly newsletter. It's just a recap of everything, and you'll get all the episodes sent directly to your inbox so you don't miss anything related to the podcast. Again, all of that is linked in my link in bio, my link tree at Sooner Girl Pod on all socials. You can find that. Or if you have any trouble finding it or have any questions, just always shoot me a message. Me at soonergirlsportspod@gmail.com. If you're interested in advertising or sponsoring the show, just shoot me a message or shoot me an email and I'll be happy to chat with you. So Boomer Sooner, everybody. Let's beat Texas. Horns down always. And I will see you next Wednesday where we talk sports. And now on to the interview of the week. The highlight of the show, my interview with sweet Mariah Gahl of OU Naval ROTC. She is a senior majoring in human relations with a minor in Naval Science. She was born in Oklahoma City and has lived in many, many states due to being in a military family. She will be commissioned into the United States Navy as a surface warfare officer upon her graduation, and she is currently the Battalion Commander for the Naval ROTC unit at OU. And I want to give her a shout out because she is the very first female to hold that rank at OU. And according to everyone around her, they all look up to her so much, think so highly of her and her leadership the past several years in Norman. So I want to give her that shout out for attaining that ranking in the ROTC unit, as she is the first female to have done so. But a lot of her family lives in Oklahoma City. She's always rooted for the Sooners because it is the best school in the state. Her favorite memory is going to OU Texas with her peers from ROTC in 2023 when we beat Texas. If you remember that game, you know exactly why that's her favorite memory. That game was so intense and the atmosphere was electric. So you can find Mariah on Instagram at Mariah Gahl, and I'll be tagging her in all of the clips throughout the week on social media and also in the show notes as well. But I enjoyed this interview with Mariah so much. I learned a lot of information about different things that the Naval ROTC does during game day, and also, of course, on the run, the game ball to Dallas, which Mariah's been a part of for the last 4 years. Just an incredible, incredible person. I'm so thankful that she took the time to visit with me, and I know that you guys will enjoy this amazing interview with Mariah Gahl. I randomly thought about this back in
Mm,
July, and I thought I've got to figure out who's in charge of this. So it,
right.
it took some time going through people and everything, but I'm certainly glad that I got connected with you and all the things. So I appreciate you giving me some of your time.
Thanks for having me. No, it's really my privilege. And I was kind of
Absolutely.
surprised. This is kind of the first thing you're the first person to reach out. So I'm really
Oh, cool.
honored to be on here. So thank you.
Absolutely, of course. Well, OU Texas is a big deal. And I want to talk, of course, about you and your journey as well and how you got where you are. But, everybody loves OU Texas. And honestly, you would be surprised the amount of people who aren't aware that you guys have done the game ball run for so long. I mean, I don't know how long you guys have been doing that, and I'm sure we'll get there. But I've been telling people about this interview, and they're just like, what? I had no idea. And so I'm excited to be able to raise some awareness for that, and then, get some encouragement for you guys along the way, and all the things. So, yeah, we can just start with you personally, and kind of, you have a lot going on yourself and your personal
Mhm.
accomplishments. So we can talk a little bit about that and kind of what got you where you are, and just a little bit about the ROTC program at OU, because a lot of people are not familiar with that as well.
Sure. Yeah. Let's
Okay.
get into it.
So tell me a little bit how you got started with ROTC and what drew you to that program.
So I grew up Navy. My dad, he's actually about to retire. He's been for about 26 years now.
Oh,
So
wow.
yeah, basically around the time since I've been in middle school, he had us move like every 3 years or so. So I've lived in probably about 3 or 4 different states. Oklahoma
Wow.
being the state I was born in, and then moving
Mm-hmm.
to Virginia and Texas and Washington, which was really an awesome experience. Like I wouldn't trade it for anything else. But yeah, so that initially like got me into the whole Navy life, and I always saw
Awesome.
myself joining the Navy and being in the Navy. I think just like the camaraderie in it is amazing. And so
Yes.
I have loved my experience all throughout ROTC. OU was my first choice in college just because it was either I was going to enlist in the Navy or I was going to go to college and go the officer route. And if I was
Uh-huh.
going to go to any college, it was going to be OU. So
Awesome. I love that. Well, I am Oklahoma born, Sooner bred girl myself. So I love to hear that. And so tell me a little bit about the ROTC program itself, and just kind of what you guys do, because I know that you were away this summer at training, and
mhm.
there's a lot of things that entails. So just tell a little bit about that if you don't mind.
So, Naval ROTC is a 4 year officer development program where you'll come in and you're basically within a unit. We have two branches, the Navy and the Marine Corps, and you'll have physical fitness twice a week. Each unit does it differently across the country, but basically, how we do it here at OU is we'll wake up twice a week at 6 a.m. to PT together just to keep our physical fitness
Uh
up,
huh.
and then we'll have lab periods where we train just about military knowledge and things that'll help us develop as leaders to lead sailors and Marines in the future. And then we also have all these cool events in between that includes running Dallas, Marine
Yes.
Corps ball celebrations, and just every look unit paintball. We do one of those too. So it's a very fun experience.
That's awesome. So tell me a little bit about your title, because if I remember correctly, Kira, I hope I'm pronouncing her name correctly. She was telling me that you're the first female to hold your title. So tell me a little bit about that. That's amazing. Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you so much. No, yeah, it came as a surprise to me just because, I mean, we've been doing this Run a Dallas thing for about 30 years now. And
Uh-huh.
then the unit itself has been around for way longer than that.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I'm just honored, honestly. Like it's been such a crazy ride for me since the moment I've came into the unit to now. I feel like I've just grown so much personally and just like gaining that community was better than anything I could have imagined. So, as of now, I have two other members who are within my top three or the triad, my battalion executive officer and my command master chief who are like my right and left hands per se. And then
Uh-huh.
we have a support system of company staff leadership and battalion staff leadership who controls like the behind the scenes, our planning. Everything
Uh-huh.
about ROTC is student led. So we plan
That's
all our
awesome.
events, do all the funding for it, and just help each other develop as people. So
That's
it's
so
it's really
cool.
a good time.
That's awesome. Well, like I said, congratulations on your title and those accomplishments because that's incredible. I think I told you just a little bit about my platform. Of course, I love showcasing women in unique positions across all of Sooner Nation. But it's just so cool to see women who have accomplished things that haven't been done before by a woman. So it's really cool that you have done that. And so I'm certainly honored to have you on my show because
They appreciate it so much.
absolutely. Well, yesterday you were sending me those pictures and I was going through them and looking at them and I thought, man, she's such a badass.
Thank
So
you.
so all of you guys, I have nothing but respect for anybody in any sort of military branch and service. It's just incredible. So just to hear you talking a little bit that about that is so cool. So you were saying, oh, your human relations. Okay, so tell me a little bit about what you're thinking and what direction you're wanting to go with that. Are you looking at grad school or what are you looking at after a graduation?
Well, so how it works for us is the
Mm-hmm.
Navy or the Marine Corps will pay for our
Mm-hmm.
college all
Mm-hmm.
4 years, and then we're required to do a 5 year minimum service
Okay.
agreement.
Yes.
And then once upon completing that, at some point, whether or not I decide to stay in or not, I'll have to get like a master's, which
Okay.
I was originally psychology major, and then I took my first human relations class, I believe, my freshman year, and found out that it was kind of like a mixture of psychology and business and like all the
Yeah.
things that are incorporated into what I also think applies to the Navy and ROTC. And I just
Uh-huh.
love the people in the major as well. So
How
hopefully
cool.
one day I'm looking into potentially getting a master's in clinical therapy and
Okay.
potentially using that in the Navy or getting
Yeah.
out and doing something else. But helping people has always been my passion and talking to people has always been my passion. So that's the plan for now. We'll see.
Awesome. Well, I love that. And of course, you never know what life holds, but that is
Mhm.
an amazing plan. And I truly wish you the best and all of that. I can tell you have a really good personality to relate to people. So I can definitely see all of that working out for you. Okay. So tell me a little bit about the run to Dallas because, like I said, I was actually kind of shocked the people that weren't aware that this happened.
Mhm.
And I just remember I was a student at OU from 98 to 2003, so before you were born. But I do remember that they've been doing this for a very long time. And so, again, I was shocked at the people that weren't aware of it. So, yeah, let's talk a little bit. Like you said, they've been doing it for years and just kind of just tell me about that and when you guys start. I know it's a big deal at the stadium, like you
Mhm.
do a whole ball presentation and all that. So, yeah, let's just talk all the things.
Oh my gosh. Well, yeah, it's super exciting. Like I said, it's been like a long-standing tradition
Uh
for
huh.
about 30 years now. And initially when you tell I'm surprised that not a lot of people know about it just because it does seem like from our perspective there's like a
Yeah.
lot of media coverage about it. It's like one of our favorite events that we do every year.
Uh huh.
So how it starts is we'll basically have 5 run shifts that will begin on October 8th. The first
Mm-hmm.
run shift starts in the morning, and that's when we get the Roughnecks coming out, OU
Okay.
Pride. We have Coach Venables who will come out,
Yes.
and the president. They'll come out, give a speech, and hand us off the game ball, and then we'll start running exactly from the stadium, Gaylord, all the way to the Cotton Bowl Stadium in Dallas,
So
and
crazy.
we split. Yeah, yeah. It's really fun. We split it up just to give each other breaks and
Oh
like
yeah.
not heat case or anything like that. But
Yeah.
it's a very fun experience just to be out there supporting each other, listening to music.
Yes.
having a good time and seeing locals that'll cheer us on and
Yes.
people riding by just cheering us on and
I
everything.
love
So it's a
it.
good time.
Well, like you said, I know there is quite a bit of media coverage on this in the Oklahoma City, Norman metro area, and maybe even Tulsa as well. But as for me in southern Oklahoma and probably the Texas markets, I don't think we don't get a lot of that.
Hmm.
But I know looking back over the years, I can think of all of my time with OU Texas, and there's been a lot of different weather. So
Hmm.
you guys have got to be prepared for the elements, just insane. I mean, it's been cold, it's been wet, it's been hot, all the things. So I truly admire you guys because that is a long way to run the ball. And so you leave on Wednesday morning, and when do you get there with the ball?
We get there. So the runner will officially end Thursday evening,
Oh wow, okay.
and then we'll meet up with Texas ROTC
Uh-huh.
Friday morning, and we'll do a
Neat.
formation run into the Cotton Bowl Stadium.
That's so cool. Okay.
So
Now,
yes, it's around 200 miles total
oh
that we
my
split
goodness.
up. There's probably around 20 to 25 midshipmen on each run shift.
Okay.
And so we'll all finally congregate Friday morning in Dallas, Texas, and we'll run the balls into the stadium.
That is cool. So that was going to be my next question. Does Texas do the same thing? Because I didn't know. I assumed that they probably did. That is so cool that you guys meet up and then you go in together on Friday morning, you said, and then it's kind of like a big deal. Okay, so this will be your fourth year to do this.
Yes, yes.
Oh my gosh. So, do you have any particular moments that stick out to you during your run? Anything crazy? Like, has anything, crazy happened weather wise or with people or just anything memorable that you can think of that's happened?
Yes, there's been a couple moments. Like I said, I feel like just seeing the locals cheer us on has always
Yeah,
like stuck in
that's
my
cool.
memory. We
Yeah.
we love to see that. We love just hearing the Boomer Sooners and
Yes.
screaming it back at people, and then the roadkill's always a surprise too. We
Oh,
tend to
I
try to
bet.
avoid that.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just like seeing the sunset depending on
Oh,
what
yeah.
shift you're on.
Yes.
Crossing the river, obviously, that's probably my
Yes.
favorite moment
That's
I've
cool.
had. So yeah, it's a
That's
good
cool.
time.
I bet so. I cannot imagine. Well, like you mentioned, just the camaraderie of, you were speaking of the ROTC and that, but just the camaraderie of OU fans in general,
Mm.
supporting you guys and along the way. And it's one of my favorite things about away games and traveling with the team is that camaraderie of being on an airplane with Sooner fans or whatever. So I bet it's really cool as you're running down the road and they're yelling Boomer Sooner. I bet that's really a cool experience. Okay, well I'm very excited to share your stories and everything. And like I said, I am going to get together a group of people to meet up, and I'll probably just pick a location and say, hey, we're going to meet here and cheer you guys on. And we'll have people get signs and stuff like that. So, can we provide you water or anything as you're running? Okay.
Please, we'd appreciate it so much. I mean, we have two vans, one in front of us and one
Yes.
behind us, and we'll have like all our necessary items that we need. Running tape, like to prevent chafing and
Yeah.
soreness, everything you can think of, we have in those vans.
I bet so.
Electrolytes, the whole nine.
Yes.
So we'll
Okay.
definitely be properly prepared, but
Uh huh.
we always love to like get the support out there and like say
Okay.
hi to people, talk to people. We'll be
Yeah.
willing to like I know there's certain points that we do take breaks and stop and talk to people, so I'm
Right.
sure they'd
Okay.
be very excited to see you.
Okay, perfect.
Thank you.
Okay, well, as far as the game goes, one of my favorite pictures you sent me was, of course, you on the field at the Cotton Bowl, and it's
Hmm.
packed. And that just has to be such a unique experience. That stadium is unlike any other. But yeah, that just has to be such a unique experience just to get on that field and just experience that atmosphere.
Yes, it really is. We actually work every football game, every
Oh,
home
okay.
football game.
Okay.
So we keep up with the progress of how the team's
Yeah.
doing and everything. So just to finally get to that point where it's arguably like the biggest game of the season
Oh, for
and
sure.
have that same sense of team and camaraderie that I'm sure they do have on the football team as well. It's just kind of like
Yeah.
very inspiring to see people work hard for what they really love.
Absolutely.
And I mean,
Absolutely.
OU fans were passionate about
Yeah.
football and winning and hopefully beating Texas. So we're looking forward to it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, I know for this year anyway, we're all concerned about John Mateer's hand.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
fingers crossed and good vibes and prayers and whatever you do
Mhm.
for that hand for sure. So I guess we'll see as far as that's concerned. But even aside from that, I'm feeling pretty good about the game. I know we have a bye and then a pretty easy home game the
Mhm.
next week, and I'm feeling really good about the game. So fingers crossed for sure. I think we're due for a good show out down there.
For sure. I definitely feel the atmosphere has been
Yes.
way higher and like the energy
Yes.
surrounding this season has been really good and definitely wishing John Mateer the best. I know he was kind of front runner for the Heisman,
I
so it was
know.
very disappointing to hear about his hand
Yes.
and everything. But I'm glad he got the surgery and hopefully has a speedy recovery
Absolutely.
as well.
Well, and I know he's probably the least selfish person you will find.
Mm.
He's probably not even thinking about the Heisman for himself, but that's the first thing I thought of was please don't let this affect his Heisman race.
Mhm.
And I think, fingers crossed, if he's backed by Texas, I don't think it will affect his Heisman race much. But,
Right.
ultimately, big team goals, the whole picture. I think we're doing good. And I
Mhm.
have all the faith in the world in Mike Hawkins. He's fun to watch. He's a good player. So
Right.
if he's playing in Dallas, I won't be concerned unless something drastic changes. But anyway, I'm just
Mhm.
excited about the game. And I'm hoping for good weather for you guys
Me too.
on your rundown and all of that. And I hope it's not too hot in the Cotton Bowl. But so what do you guys do? You said you guys work home games. What do you guys
Mhm.
do on game day?
So on game days, we'll have around 2 or 3 people working the net. So whenever they kick the field goals, we have to like rush and make sure
Okay.
it goes up. And then,
Okay.
yeah, it's very exciting to be out on the field for that as well. And
Yes.
then we'll have a lot of midshipmen in the stadium trying to control the crowd
Oh
density.
gosh,
And I know
yes.
this last game they implemented wristbands, which was a really big help. But just trying to keep
Uh-huh.
the exits clear and make sure
Okay.
people are safe and enjoying the game, but also not overheating and they can
Right.
get to the places they need to be.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's a good tidbit of information,
Mhm.
that's like behind the scene type stuff that people don't think about that you guys are doing that
Right.
you don't get a lot of recognition for. And I'm not going to lie, it's never once occurred to me to think about who is controlling those nets. So I'm glad to know who's doing it now. Now I'm going to be watching.
Hopefully you see us out there. If you see a little red polo with the Naval ROTC
Yes.
logo, everyone's super friendly, so please say hi.
That is so
And
awesome. Yes.
yes,
Well,
anything you need.
awesome. I love it. Well, like I said, that's something I've never thought of. Who is raising that net? So it gives all of us Sooner fans listening something to pay attention to on game day. But I've talked to a lot of different people who do behind the scenes stuff, and it's just cool to hear about all of the pieces that come together to
Mhm.
make game day happen. We as fans don't even think about. So that's just another tidbit of we don't think about it, but it's got to happen.
The show goes on for
It
sure.
does. It does. Well, I got to be on the field last Saturday during the Auburn game. I got to be on the sidelines, and I will say to be in that stadium with all of those people, it was so loud. So I can't imagine, like, I feel like if I was doing something that was getting watched or noticed, I would be so nervous, like raising the net or something. Like I feel like you're just a tiny dot, a tiny ant on the stadium, but in that big crowd of people. But it's an experience for sure. So
Right.
how cool that you guys get to play such a important part of game day and controlling all those crazy people.
hmm No, it definitely gets pretty intense. I know there's been time I've been standing next to the net. I'm like, okay, are they gonna kick? Are they gonna try to
Right?
go for it? Like, what are we doing, guys? Like, let me know so I can be ready. But and those
Yeah.
fans, I mean, the fans don't hold back. If we
Oh
raise
no.
it up too early, they're like, hey, guys, like, not yet. Which it
That's
it,
so
it
funny.
definitely does help. But yeah, it's definitely intense. I think our fans get super into the games for the most part, and
Oh,
we love
absolutely.
to see it. We love to see it.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. Well, one more thing I wanted to mention was you talking about your favorite memory, and that was 2023 when we beat Texas. And I have to tell you,
Oh
that was
yeah.
a good one. I was there that year. I've also been there the other years surrounding that didn't end or go so well. But
Mm.
yeah, that was a fantastic game.
Oh my gosh.
So I don't blame you that that's one of your favorite memories. So you want
Mhm.
to talk a little bit about why that's your favorite memory?
Well, yeah. So basically, another thing our unit does is because we do this run and we work on the games as well, we're usually awarded with tickets for our midshipmen to go and see the game, which is a
Good.
really,
You should.
I'm super grateful for that, just
Absolutely.
considering the prices of these tickets sometimes. So
Yes.
we like pretty much me and all of my buddies were there watching the game. We're next to Texas fans, OU fans, and the game was just going both directions.
Yes.
I think down to the wire, we did
It
not know who was
was.
going to win.
Yes.
And so once it finally got to the point where we're like, oh my gosh, we're for sure winning, we were like cheering and jumping
Yes.
around. And it was just, the atmosphere was insane. It was definitely
Yes.
something like out of my entire 4 years of college, I will not forget.
That's awesome. Well, I'm certainly glad that you have that good memory, and here's hoping for another one this year.
Hmm.
Another good memory. So, okay. Well, is there anything else you want to share or talk about? If there's any other memories or anything else you want to talk about, just have at it.
Yeah, well, first I just want to thank you again. I definitely think
Oh, of
you are
course.
badass as well.
Oh my
I've loved
gosh.
seeing you. I've loved seeing your content over
Well,
the
thank you.
past couple of months. Yeah, keep it up. Keep
I
what you're doing
appreciate
because I
that.
think it is important to shine a
Thank you.
light on all the people that do kind of go unnoticed. But
Yes.
yeah, I just hope we continue to grow as a unit. I think we are now double what we were my freshman year. So
Oh,
we've
that's
climbed from
incredible.
around like 40 members of the battalion to around 100 now. So
That's awesome.
it'll definitely be exciting just having that many people out there participating in
Absolutely.
the tradition. And another thing I forgot to mention on that Friday as well is
Mm-hmm.
that we'll meet up with Texas ROTC at J.J. Pierce High School in
Uh-huh.
Texas, and we'll participate in 3 sports and just have a fun, like, filled day that we do to build
Yes.
camaraderie between the units and just like get to know the people we're going to be joining the service
I love
to.
that.
Yeah, and so we do flag football is one of them.
Uh-huh.
And sometimes we'll joke around and say like we care about winning that game or do we do the actual football game? But in all actuality, we care about winning both games. But
Absolutely.
yeah, the the story behind it is if we lose the flag football game, we'll usually win the actual OU Texas game. So it's kind of a
Man,
double-edged sword.
that is. That,
I'll
oh my
definitely let you
gosh.
know what ends up happening that
Please do.
Friday.
Oh my gosh, I don't like that. I want you to win both because now I'm invested.
That's the hope. Hopefully, we can break that curse and just win both this
Yes.
year, but we'll
Oh
see
my
what
gosh.
happens.
Well, what a fun day. That is really cool. And I mean, we don't like Texas University, horns
Hmm.
down always.
For
But
sure.
that's really cool that you guys have, you have a common ground in that you both have similar interests and
Right.
paths in life. And so it's cool that you guys have that opportunity to meet up and hang out and have a little friendly quote competition there. I don't know how friendly it is. I'm sure you guys are very competitive. I know I would be. So, yeah, but how cool that you guys get to do that. That's really, really neat. So,
Yeah. Thank you.
awesome. Well, anything else you want to throw in before I let you go?
No, I just thank you so much for
Of
reaching out
course.
and
Oh my
giving
gosh,
us
yes.
this moment to shine. And hopefully,
Absolutely.
we get a little bit more coverage and get a little bit more people out knowing, how this
Absolutely.
whole process works and just
Yes.
the spirit behind the tradition and the game itself. So,
Yes, I love it. Well, I appreciate you for sharing your story, and Boomer Sooner for sure.
Boomer Sooner, thank you so much.